Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Bucks fans, today is July the 3rd, 2024. We're having some fun. Talk about the latest Bucks updates and rumors. It's the Cream City crossover, the Guru, Trey Crosby III.
Chris King.
The Bucks recently, a couple days ago, signed first signing of the offseason, really the second, but the first legitimate signing of the offseason. Delon Wright is coming to the Bucks. Adrian Wojnarowski reports a one-year deal. He reported at $3.3 million. I think it's going to be around $3 million, so basically a minimum deal for Delon Wright. He spent much of his 9-year career coming off the bench. He's played in 508 games, 85 starts, averaging 7 points a night over 20 minutes. He's 45% from the field, 35% from three, and 80% from the free throw line. Best season from him came in 2020, playing for the Pistons and the Kings that year, averaging 10 points on 63 games, shooting 46% from the field and 37% from three. Had the most number of starts that year as well at 39, and had 5.4 points a game last year in 14 games with the Miami Heat after he was waived by the Washington Wizards in February. So again, veteran presence off the bench for the Bucks. And again, what you're looking for with Delon Wright, his defensive presence, like that's what you're wanting to see from the Bucks. You're looking from the guard position, and I think that's what he's going to bring to the Milwaukee Bucks. And I'm not mad at the deal at all. Again, we know the Bucks are going to be hampered in what they can do free agency wise, so this is a good pickup. I think Bucks fans, if you're looking for some bright spots, this is a good pickup. I think we're all still kind of reeling, trying to figure out what the Bucks are going to do. You look at the draft that we talked about already, AJ Johnson. The other guy, what's his name, Tyler Smith. You look at those guys, and are they going to be able to contribute? Delon Wright should be a guy to be a veteran presence, come in and contribute. And I think the other thing is, does this mean that there's not going to be any Patrick Beverley? A lot of people talk about when Patrick Beverley come back. That's kind of his spot that you thought, maybe if you're going to bring a guard back, that's a Delon Wright with $3 million on a vet minimum. I think it's tough to see where Patrick Beverley has a spot in the rotation to come back from Milwaukee, given this signing. So again, at the end of the day, I think it's a good signing. I like what the Bucks do there. Still some work to do. You got, again, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, Pat Connaughton still hanging out there as your veterans. Do you trade 1, 2, or 3 of them? A lot of interest going in a lot of ways. But for the signing of Delon Wright for $3 million, what it's worth, listen, it's a good deal. You can't, with the Bucks being hampered by the second apron and the CBA, you can't ask for much better than John Horst going out and getting a guard like that. Was he 6'6", 6'7" type player? So again, I'm not mad at that at all, and a good veteran presence for the Bucks.
Yeah, his measurables definitely stack up to be a guy who can actually be on the perimeter and guard, and that's what we wanted to see from the Bucks at the trade deadline last year. We were even looking and talking about maybe getting Delon Wright out of Washington before he ultimately ended up in Miami, but I saw something somewhere that he's 40+% from three on catch and shoot, so definitely is somebody who could plug in and be able to knock some threes down if that sustains. So I was really happy for the Bucks to get somebody who's a veteran, but also still shows athleticism. Like, not a veteran that's slow and old, a guy who will be out there for the sole reason that we need somebody to shoot and we need somebody to guard. And I think, especially when you look at some of the guys that the Bucks could possibly lose, I think he does a good job of at least weathering that storm. If you talk about Beasley, I think he plays better defense than Beasley. Might not shoot it as well, but we'll still see him get some shots up, and if they move on from Pat Connaughton too, like, I think he's a way more athletic guard now. Pat was once very athletic, but last season seemed like he fell off a little bit. So I think this is really good, especially to get him at a low level deal in terms of income.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it all. Is this going to win you a championship? Absolutely not. Is it going to get you to the East? Absolutely not. But this is a good quality veteran signing, and again, where the Bucks are at with the with their cap space, basically not having any and having to go with all minimum contracts until there's some type of trade. Yeah, you can't ask for anything more than this. The other guy the Bucks signed, Stanley. I didn't even know how to pronounce his last name. Umude. I'm so sorry that I'm not up to date on the latest Stanley Umude numbers and stats. But he appeared in 24 games for the Pistons last season. This sounds like it's I think it's gonna be a two-way deal. And again, he played. So again, he was drafted. He went undrafted out of Arkansas. With the training camp for Detroit, spent the entire season with their G League affiliate in 2022. did have a 10-day contract in February 2023, and last year got a two-way deal with the Pistons going into the season. 6'6" swing man, his deal was converted into a standard deal in last February, but he appeared in 24 games, averaged 5 points a night on 44% shooting, 45% from three, 90% from the line, and he averaged about 12.8, about 13 minutes a game. Did not convince the Pistons to keep him, though. They declined his $2.1 million team option to open up some cap space for him. So the Bucks, again, do a two-way deal. Again, he's going to be a summer league guy at least. And again, but he's a young player, and, it's one of those deals where you have to bring in some young players anyway. I know there's some rumors as well about some other guys, but you bring in, this guy goes to the G League, see what he can do. Maybe he competes for a two-way deal or something like that. Maybe he can play a little bit on the roster. I don't know, but again, he's swing man, got some height on him, got some athleticism, and we'll see what he looks like ultimately in the summer league, right?
Yeah, I think that'll be good to at least get a guy that has been in the league and they like his measurables. Obviously, they probably like what they see on film, and maybe he can develop into somebody. But it's not some crazy signing that anybody should be over their heads about. I think it's just trying to find somebody out of that group that can be able to guard bigger wings, guard bigger guards, and that's what you're going to be seeing in the NBA from now on, is just like bigger guards, and we need to find a way to combat that. So I'm not mad at the signing at all, to at least make sure these guys compete, because we've had multiple situations where we've got these supposed good defenders and they just haven't played out, or they're just young right now. So it doesn't hurt to have a little friendly competition on the squad. I like it.
And the other thing that you really start to see is the direction generally of what the team is going to look like and the mold of the team. Again, we talked about it, from the draft picks to even guys that may not be able to contribute right away. When you, like I said, AJ Johnson, but you see what the type of player that they're going for. And again, that's why I look at Pat Connaughton and say, does he really fit what their Bucks are trying to do here? You see, they want these wings 6'6", 6'5", 6'7", those type of players that can really compete, like you said, on the perimeter defensively. And it's just gonna be, throw them in there and see what works. And again, you couple that in with Marjan, you couple that in with Andre Jackson Jr., younger players are trying to get this thing going together. But again, John Horst clearly has a MO or motive this offseason. He's on, they say he's balling on a budget. Right, he balled on a budget. What he's saying Friday. He got $1 to go to the store. Make it work. You got to make it work. She said, make it enough. That's what she told Chris Tucker. Make it enough. That's what they're having to do. The Bucks going to have to make short money into long money and see what works. But again, the Bucks are trying to do it. And again, I can't fault them for either of these two picks. Last word on this, Chris.
Yeah, and like we said, John Horst, after what was a kind of just an up and down draft, like we, obviously everybody who watched the video saw how we first reacted to it. I think what's most important is that he gets to those phone lines, and that's something we know that John Horst can do, right? So hopefully that is something that happens throughout this offseason, and sure enough, we'll be here for it.
Absolutely. We will be here right here on the Cream City Crossover. Keep it locked all the time. Subscribe, share, tell a friend about the Cream City Crossover. We're going to keep giving you videos like this, keep giving you updates as to what's going on. Come right here every time for the latest up-to-date news on the Milwaukee Bucks. It's the Guru, Trey Crosby III.
Chris King.
Don't take no wood nickels. Courage.